Hello there. Do you find yourself isolating yourself, distancing yourself from old relationships? Well, you're not alone. We have a guy who's 42 years old. He avoids people and he explains why. Let's just hop right into it. Here we go. Up and you already know. Let's get it.
I used to be more social in the past. I used to think that building social relationships and keeping them was really important to me in my life. That's what society, taught me. But now that I'm 42, I actually avoid people and I have no regrets. Here's why. Alright, welcome back to the channel everybody. I'm Paul. I'm 42 years old. I have been living and working for over 19 years abroad. I left my country a long time ago in search of a better life, and so far it's working out well for me. Okay, why don't we start right here? Why I started avoiding people? Well, I think there's no better place to start than close to home, right? Family. I have an older brother, 6 years older than me. My sister is 2 years older than me. Now, throughout my life, I realized that my family's not perfect, but I also realized that you never walk away from family. I have not spoken to my brother for over 8 or 9 years. I don't speak to my sister, but I won't get into too much detail here.
Now that is, I don't know why that is, but yeah, you probably not something you should, follow in his suit of. And keep in mind, there's a consistency now. He's avoiding people, even family. So let's connect the dots as we listen along.
My father had a lot of ups and downs in our lives, but I always stood by my dad's side, and I was a great believer in forgive and forget. And the great thing about me and my dad was we could say things to each other's face, just straight up truth. And I think he was the person I got it from. But we always made up, we shook hands, we let it go. But once you get that out of your system, once you say how you feel and you move on, it's peace. I swear it's peace, folks. It's just the most amazing peace that you'll find. If you're able to say how you feel to someone, right? And I mean really say how you feel, no holding back. You're talking about the negative stuff that they do that you don't like, and you tell them how you feel and why you don't like it and why they should change. And they're probably giving you as good back, and you're able to forgive and forget and move on. It is wonderful. It is healing. Now,
I believe it.
My father died last year, okay, and
Rest in peace.
I was there for 4 weeks before he died, and 2 weeks after I came home to Korea, he passed away. So heartbreaking for me, wasn't expected at all. But the great thing is, I'm at peace completely with my father, and he was at peace with me, and I called him every week from South Korea as well. So no regrets, folks, and that's a great.
So it sounds like he had a close relationship, really close relationship with his dad. They can open up to each other, really just fucking just go at it back and forth and still make up. And it sounds like he talked to his dad, weekly. But yeah, he hasn't talked to his brother and sister in nearly a decade. So I am curious as to why, if he does disclose that, but I'm just trying to figure out his personality and why he's avoiding people.
Feeling, when you lose someone that you actually don't regret, because you can't change it when they're gone. There's no sense buying flowers, to the person when they're dead.
Right.
Buy the flowers when they're alive. Right. Yeah. So that's family.
Yeah, for real. That really irks my nerves. Like, never once alive, dead. Now they say they love him. Like, for real. Like, it's crazy how people don't really treat people don't treat a lot of people how they really should have been treated, and took advantage of their existence while they're here. But then after they're gone, they actually treat them how they should have actually treated them all along while they were here. So I mean, it's just that's just an unfortunate reality, and that's just kind of just what happened. So it's stupid,
I'm sure
man.
Some of you come from families that also have their issues, right? No family's perfect, of course. Moving on from family to friendship, right? Obviously, friendship can replace family in some situations. When I was growing up, my best buddies were like my brothers. Friendship is a two-way street, like I mentioned in my recent video. You have to reciprocate. You have to get what you give. Otherwise, one of you doesn't feel like you're being treated fairly. So, as far as friendship goes, I don't need fake friends. I don't need shallow conversation. I need deep conversation. I need best friends that are there for me whenever I need them. People only reaching out to you when they want something. That is something you don't need in your life. Cut it off and move on. I've done it numerous times. I don't regret it, and I don't miss it because it's not affecting me mentally. Isn't there a lack of manner these days in society in general? You know, just something that I want to comment on about South Korea. The driving here is just crazy, okay? And when I say crazy, I mean people don't indicate. They just move lanes. It drives me nuts. A lot of the time people are not even aware of what's around them in the car. They just move. That's a lack of that.
Well, I mean, you're in an Asian country, bro. And I mean, stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason, bro. There are generalities that tend to be true. And let's be real, Asians just can't drive. So, yeah. I mean, it's just a generality that's proven to be true.
But it's not just in driving in general. It's people. It's not holding doors open for each other. It's, you know, talking on a cell phone in the bus, for example, or the subway. It's just general lack of empathy and understanding and awareness of others that I just cannot stand. I cannot stand it.
Yeah, I mean, the way society's shifting is into an individualistic, kind of narcissistic society that lacks community. That's the biggest thing, is that society really lacks community. It's just me, I. You know, narcissistic, just society, man. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's what it is. People are just living in their own worlds, man. They don't need people for real. You know, as long as they got a fucking phone in their hand or whatnot, like, who needs people, right? You know, like, in that regards, in like a social, you know, setting. You know, obviously humans are kind of pack animals, like, you know, dogs and stuff like that. So, you know, we are social creatures at nature. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are getting their needs met just by like watching, like you know, this guy's pixels on the screen, right? I'm pixels on the screen right now. But at the end of the day, it still is kind of like, you know, it's kind of like a real person, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, same as like, you know, the modern dating crisis and stuff. A lot of guys watching the corn, they're getting the needs met with that. I'm not saying that I don't, but I try not to do it as much as possible. You know, I am a believer in semen retention. So, but with that said, I mean, that's just the society we're in. It's antisocial because at the end of the day, in a way, this is kind of the new social groups, just, you know, the internet right here, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
There's one thing I cannot stand, it's a lack of manner, because for me, manner, morals, they're so important. They're the makeup of who we are, right, as good people. Let's talk about phones and social media. I was a teenager in the late 90s. What a time to be alive, folks. I loved it, absolutely loved it.
I believe it.
It was wonderful. Life just seemed better. It seemed purer.
I believe it.
Now, I know it wasn't perfect. Okay, I'm not sitting here saying the 90s were the best times in the world. But with a lack of cell phones, you know, the internet just came out. I think it was 95 or 94, whatever, right? I got it in my house at like 97, 98. A lack of smartphones, right? There was no one with a camera in your face all the time. Going to like gigs, live music venues. There's no one in front of you with a phone blocking your view. And now I wouldn't like to grow up in this current generation, you know, with smartphones, with all these apps, social networks, social sites, a lot of pressure on people. But when you walk into like a subway, for example, now everyone's glued to their phone. Even when you're walking down the street, everyone's glued to their phone. Smombies everywhere, right? This social media addiction and phone addiction can even lead to the restaurants and a dinner table. I have a rule in my house: when the kids come home from school, the phones go away. They don't get them till the next day. Those phones are for school, and the reason we got them phones was because when they leave the house and
I can rock with it.
They have a tool to contact us in emergency, right? They always have their phone with them, just in case. It's really, really good to have that. It's safe. But they don't have social media. They are allowed to watch YouTube and stuff like that. That's okay, but only for a certain amount of time each day, and it's controlled. Now, my kids don't rely on their phones. They're not glued to their phones. It's something they don't care about. When we go to a restaurant, my kids, obviously there's no phones, right? They don't have their phones at a restaurant. My kids can sit and, you know, look about them and take in the scenes and the atmosphere and the music, and we can talk about the menu and have a conversation with each other. This is something that's
I
completely
rock with it.
lacking these days in
I
society.
rock with it.
When you see, kids going to a restaurant, they're always glued to a screen of some kind, a
Facts,
tablet,
so.
a phone. And I'm not judging people, right? And I don't think the parents are bad parents, but I just think it's bad habit, okay? And these bad habits lead to bad manners. So I avoid people for that reason. I don't want to be around this too much. I see a lot of bad in people. I don't see good often. And when I do see good,
Unfortunately,
I'm almost surprised, right? Because it's not common.
It isn't.
So how has it helped me? Well, as a lone wolf, I don't need friends that, a one-way street. I don't need it. Don't want it. It's not welcome. So I'm pretty good. I've had lots of time, in solitude on my own. So I can deal with life now in my own ways. And I accept what I accept, and I don't accept what I don't accept. And that's it, bottom line. I don't care if I offend someone by walking away. Because if that person's not giving me what I give them, then it's not worth it for me at all. Less stress equals more peace, okay? Like I said recently, you need to be good up here to be good in this world. So focus on yourself, build yourself up here. I live on my own terms as a lone wolf. If you haven't seen it, I'll put the lone wolf video at the end. But I'll tell you something, folks, as a lone wolf. I have manner, I have respect, and I'll always keep that. I'm also a father, so very, very important point. The way that I act in my life and the example that I set is exactly rubbing off on them. Okay, so the way that I want my daughters to grow up is the same way that I'm portraying to them. At 42 years old, I've realized quite a long time ago now, this world is full of selfish people that are only interested in themselves. Yeah. There's a lack of empathy in this world, and it is something that I cannot change, okay? I can only look after myself, same as you can only look after yourself. So if avoiding people means that I keep my peace, then so be it. I don't regret it at all. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, he really hit a lot of good points. It is sad, unfortunate that most of the time it's really just all bad around you. And then if you do see good in people, it is rare. And at the end of the day, it's just a narcissism in this culture, at least in, where I'm at in the States, in America, right? And the utter lack of community, and the fact that a lot of kids these days really are raised by, not even by their parents, they're raised by their damn phone. You know what I'm saying? And I honestly feel them, because I'm a lone wolf as well. And I wasn't always that way. It kind of got formed into a lone wolf. Because when you go through enough experiences and you start seeing how people really move, and how most people aren't really good people, and most people aren't, really, most people just don't really, most people aren't very genuine, especially in the States, in the United States. It just makes you just be like, it's just most people, I feel like instead of adding, most people are just takers of something. You know what I'm saying? So, I get it. I mean, can you guys relate? Like, do you guys avoid people? But, I mean, let's just, look at these comments real quick. I have lost faith in people. Most friends are selfish, one-sided, and unreliable. Nowadays, I keep to myself and can only rely on the person looking back in the mirror. And I honestly feel that. I mean, not maybe to that extreme. It used to be worse. I used to be way even more of a lone wolf. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's just like you really only... Shit, some people can't even trust themselves. So... I don't hate people. I just feel better when I'm not around them. People throw the word friend around too loosely. I've learned over the years that true friendship is rare, 100%. I'm 39, no wife, no girlfriend, no sidekicks, live with my old folks and cat, and I'm happy. And, the thing is, it's even worse with men in regards to, the loneliness. Don't get me wrong. There's women out there that's lonely. There's grandmas out there that's lonely. There's females out there that's lonely. All that good stuff. Yada yada yada. Anytime I interact with people, I'm reminded why I hate interacting with people. I do not hate people, but they simply exhaust me. I've become a hermit because of society. That actually had the most amount of likes. I totally get where you're coming from. This world can be totally exhausting at times, and sometimes pulling away feels like the only way to breathe. Yeah, it's okay to take that space for yourself, but just remember, you don't have to stay isolated forever. The more I learn about people, the more like my dog. Like, look, man, like human nature is just kind of fucked. I started avoiding people when I was 24. You got to be careful who you let near you. 1000%, man. I avoid people because 99.99% of people have given me a reason to avoid them. I enjoy my time alone. Especially in America, bro. Like, I just feel like America's designed for isolation, but it could just be me. I'm very curious to hear you guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. Yeah, man, it's your boy DD signing off. Just my 2 cents on the mono world. Another day to be ungrateful. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.